I think a little extra change and probably a little more weight behind my name. Brendan, you are absolutely right about that, because there were certainly some heavy hitters here today on Sullivan's Island. Of course, a very historic place in this country, Sullivan's Island is, and certainly a place that the Vice President wanted to be today. He was here joined by a lot of supporters. We are at the beautiful home of a prominent Charleston attorney, Mark Tanenbaum, and Mark tells me that the event went off as planned. And Mark was kind enough to allow us on his property here at Sullivan's Island, where he and, of course, the Vice President and a few dozen or so Democratic supporters were here. And the Vice President is now gone, I understand, Mr. Tanenbaum.
Correct. He left less than an hour ago. We had 30 people here today, and we really had a very successful event. He was here with us for about an hour and a half. And I'm going to tell you, he is not only a charming fellow, but he's also extremely inspirational. You feel like you're doing something good when you're helping this administration run for re-election. And that's what all of us here today wanted to do.
Of course, people want to know about some very personal things. And my first reaction is, how is it that your home is the home that is the one where you will host an event for the Vice President? How did that come about?
Well, I have been an active Democrat for quite some time, and I've been a contributor to the extent that I could. I attended the event in September that was at Charleston Place, and I was called by the campaign and asked if I would be willing to hold this event today here. And I was thrilled to do it, needless to say.
Did you have to catch your breath when you hear that? Are you immediately thinking, I need a caterer and I've got to mop the floors?
No, you know what? Everybody ought to get the opportunity to try and raise money for the Democratic Party, especially here in South Carolina, but also in Charleston.
Let's talk about raising money. How much money did you raise? We understand that the event, you had to pay some, what, $10,000 to actually walk through the doors?
Well, some people did, and some people paid more, and some people paid less. But we raised about $150,000 today. So we really felt like we did a great job today. We're really very proud of the result.
Mark, again, thank you for allowing us to be here. We also want to know who was in the room and some of the people who had an opportunity to visit with the Vice President.
Sure. I'll tell you, one of the people that I was most impressed with was Representative Smith from Columbia, who just returned from 16 months in Afghanistan, father of 4 children, who went to Afghanistan to serve his country. And while he was there, he actually spoke with the Vice President regularly to give the Vice President some idea of what was going on the ground. James Smith was an infantryman who was right out in the boonies, hunting Taliban, as he says, every day. So knowing James and getting a chance to be with him today was really inspirational. Senator Hollings was here. They're old friends. They regaled us with stories from the way back past, when actually Congress knew how to do things and cooperate and get things done. Dick Harpootlian was here. He's the chairman of the Democratic Party. We had a number of lawyers here. We also had business people here. So we had a mix of the community here. Some from Sullivan's Island, some from throughout the Low Country. And so the idea of, and I've read this in the press, of labeling this as a trial order event is anything but true.
The Vice President was recently here, really about 8 weeks or so ago. Is South Carolina a very important state for them, and Charleston a place where they really want to make a mark and also build their level of support?
Well, let me say that the party would love to be able to take South Carolina, as Karl Rove has warned could happen. But realistically, we know that Charleston in particular is a place that's always voted Democratic, and we hope will continue to do so. Not that it's going to help do much really on a national level, but the idea of having funds that we can use in other states is also important.
All right. Well, my 9-year-old daughter's having a birthday party soon. Can we use your place for that as well?
Absolutely. She's welcome.
All right.
She's welcome.
Thank you, Mark. All right. We've got that on tape. Mark Tanenbaum, a prominent Charleston attorney who allowed the Vice President to have a fundraiser of sorts. Mark telling us that they raised some $150,000, all, of course, going toward the presidential re-election campaign. Brendan, we will send it back to you in the studio.
Certainly happy to have that money. I'm sure the people driving